On Global TV News Express, stakeholders urge Tinubu to address injustice in Samolu APC primaries. In business, Tinubu approves licenses for North Oil project. And on the foreign scene, Israel to allow basic amount of food into Gaza as military offensive intensifies. And in sports, Real Madrid lead as Chelsea, Man United surpass Arsenal top 25 UEFA 2025 rankings. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channels 276. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. The crisis rocking the All Progressive Congress APC in Samolu local government area of Lagos State has taken a new dimension as some stakeholders and party loyalists have called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene in what they described as injustice in the party's chairmanship selection process. At the center of the controversy is Honorable Bowale Sosimi, a grassroots politician and long-term APC loyalist who was reportedly endorsed as the consensus candidate by the local party structure. However, in a last-minute twist, his name was dropped in favor of another aspirant, leading to widespread anger and allegations of manipulation. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, has expressed serious concern over the technical failures that affected the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, warning it threatens trust in Nigeria's education system. At a press briefing in Abuja, Kalu praised JAMB Registrar Professor Ishak Oloyede for admitting the errors impacting nearly 380,000 candidates in the South, East, and Lagos and offering reseat opportunities. Queen Agaba has details.
Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, however, noted that technical investigations revealed that a critical system patch was not installed at 157 centers, causing thousands of result errors. He further added that an independent audit by EduCare technical team confirmed the issue, tracing over 14,000 faulty records to affected centers.
However, we must recognize that these measures, while necessary, do not erase the trauma, disruption, and uncertainty experienced by our young people and their families.
The Deputy Speaker therefore proposed a 5-point reform plan, a full technical review, independent system audit, protection for affected candidates, transparent results data release, and stricter system monitoring.
It is imperative that candidates from the Southeast and Lagos who have actually borne the brunt of these failures are not further disadvantaged. JAMB must provide a clear, accessible mechanism for remark and appeal, especially for those dissatisfied with the hurried receipt or who experienced technical difficulties once more during the second sitting. Furthermore, coordination with WAEC and other examination bodies must continue to ensure that no candidate academic progression is impeded by scheduling conflicts between the examination borders.
He assured candidates of National Assembly oversight while urging JAMB to restore public trust and prevent future lapses. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
The Nigerian Navy says it has continued to maintain round-the-clock situational awareness for Nigeria's maritime domain, extending to the limits of the exclusive economic zone through the Maritime Domain Awareness Facilities. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, who was represented by the Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Ibrahim Diwu, made this known while addressing journalists on the forthcoming 69th anniversary of the service. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
Navy Week is an annual event held to commemorate the establishment of the Nigerian Navy as part of the Armed Forces of Nigeria on June 1, 1956. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, who was represented by the Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Ibrahim Diu, explained that the Falcon Eye and Regional Maritime Awareness Capacity System have enabled early detection and swift response to incidents within Nigerian maritime environment.
This has ensured Nigeria maintained its zero piracy status in the International Maritime Bureau Piracy Rating. In furtherance to this, the Nigerian Navy has taken the initiative to ensure that the entire Gulf of Guinea is free of piracy and other maritime crimes.
It further reveals that in order to enhance the operational activities in the maritime domain, the service has taken delivery of 3 new patrol vessels and 3 newly acquired helicopters, which will be commissioned during the Navy Week. It further reveals that a total of 215 suspects and 26 vessels were arrested, while 468 illegal refining sites were deactivated in 2024. He added that an estimated quantity of 6.5 million liters of stolen crude oil and 7 million liters of illegal refined automated gas oil were seized and appropriately handled.
The new patrol vessels are NNS Shere, NNS Faro, and NNS Ikogosi. All 3 vessels are about 38 meters long with an endurance of 5 days. 2 of the vessels were acquired from Singapore and 1 from South Korea, and they all arrived in Nigeria in December 2024. These vessels will serve as seaward defense boats within Nigeria's littorals up to the 24 nautical miles contiguous zone.
The Navy Week celebration, which is expected to commence on the 23rd of May to June 1, 2025, will serve as an opportunity to present a scorecard of the Nigerian Navy's performance in the service of the nation. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
In a related development, the Nigerian Navy has announced the establishment of a Special Operations Command in Makodi, Benue State, to complement the efforts of sister services and other security agencies to improve security in the Middle Belt region. The Chief of Policy and Plans, Navy Rear Admiral Ibrahim Diu, made this known during a news conference on the activities lined up to commemorate 69th anniversary celebrations of the Nigerian Navy in Abuja. He said the decision was in line with the Nigerian Navy's total spectrum maritime strategy, which delineates its areas of operations from backwaters to the exclusive economic zone, up to the out-of-area and land-based operations. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has announced an ongoing review of counter-insurgency strategies in collaboration with the federal government. In response to the recent resurgence of attacks across parts of the state, Zulum reaffirmed his administration's commitment to bolstering local security and architecture, improving intelligence gathering, and providing frontline security personnel with the tools they need to combat insurgency effectively. The governor noted that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the service chiefs had given firm assurances of support in addressing its persistent security challenges. Still on security matters, Shaudu Alku, a close associate of the notorious terrorist kingpin Bello Tarji, have been confirmed killed in a targeted airstrike. The operation carried out by air component of Operation Fasanyama struck a terrorist hideout near Tumfa Primary School in Isa local government area of Sokoto State. The Nigerian Armed Forces confirmed that Alku, a key link in cross-border terrorist logistics, was killed alongside several fighters and suspected high-ranking commanders. Bandit attack Matsi community in Kenta local government area of Katsina State killed 2 persons, according to a post shared by security analyst Bakinshain on X. The armed bandits invaded the village, opening fire on residents, killing 2 and injuring another. The attackers reportedly carted away household valuables and caused panic among villagers. The Joint Action Committee, JAC, a senior staff association of Nigerian universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, has rejected the distribution formula adopted for the disbursement of 50 billion naira approved by the federal government for university-based unions. In a joint statement signed by SANU President Muhammad Ibrahim and General Secretary of NASU Peters Adeyemo, the two unions say the decision to give members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU 80% of the 50 billion naira and other unions 20% is totally unacceptable. They urge the federal government to immediately review and reverse the recommended allocation formula, saying that going ahead with the unfair distribution, they will breed avoidable resentment and trigger widespread industrial disharmony. You are watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Tinubu approves license for North Oil project. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Express on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, President Bola Tinubu has granted regulatory approval for the insurance of all critical licenses required for the Kalmani Integrated Development Project, a multi-billion-dollar oil exploration initiative located between Bauchi and Gombe State. The statement issued by the Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communication, Ineamaka Okafor, quoted Lakpobiri saying the approvals were part of efforts to ramp up oil production by activating all available hydrocarbon platforms across the country. The development was disclosed by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Hanakin Lakpobiri, during a flag-off ceremony for the construction of the permanent site of the Bauchi Oil and Gas Academy in Al-Kalari local government area. The Senate Committee on Power has raised concerns over the liquidity crisis bedeviling the power sector, lamenting that the tariff shortfalls in the industry has indicated that government owns about 200 billion naira to electricity generating companies every month. The chairman of the committee, Senator Ininyao Abarebe, disclosed this while fielding questions from journalists during a retreat held in Ikot Ekpene, Akwa Ibom State. The committee disclosed that since this year, the government has not paid the power producers and that this has raised a debt of about 800 billion naira. Over now to the Central Bank of Nigeria recorded a significant decline of 4.145 trillion naira in net loans and receivables in 2024, driven primarily by a reduction in its overdraft exposure to the federal government and changes across other loan categories. According to the Apex Bank's audited financial statement, net loans and receivables at the bank level dropped from 16.122 trillion naira in 2023 to 11.977 trillion naira in 2024. At the group level, the figure declined from 15.09 trillion naira to 10.959 trillion naira, reflecting a 4.132 trillion naira drop. The most sustainable adjustment came from the overdraft extended to the federal government under the Ways and Means provision. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Yoon Do-hoon, has harped on the imperative of enhanced collaboration between China and Nigeria in unlocking the potential of Nigeria's solid mineral sector through the establishment of electronic vehicle factories in Nigeria. A statement by the Minister's Special Assistant to Media, Segun Tamori, disclosed plans by China to establish electric vehicle factories in Nigeria. Do-hoon disclosed this while paying a courtesy visit to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, in his office, where he emphasized the importance of closer ties between both nations in advancing Nigeria's industrial growth. And on the following news now, Somali authorities and witnesses say several people were killed and others wounded when a suicide bomber thought to be from the Al-Shabaab militant group targeted an army recruitment center in Mogadishu. The Information Ministry said the attacker, disguised as a civilian, reportedly detonated explosive outside the Exro Damaria camp in southern Mogadishu at 9:20 a.m. local time. Islamic militant group Al-Shabaab, who is linked to Al-Qaeda, has claimed responsibility for the bombing. Israel says it will allow a limited amount of food into Gaza, ending an 11-week blockade that has brought the territory to the brink of famine. Prime Minister Netanyahu said a starvation crisis will jeopardize Israel's renewed military offensive against Hamas. He says the food shortage has reached extreme level. And in sports now, President Bola Tinubu believes the Nigerian sports sector will keep thriving under the government's Renewed Hope initiative as the country hosts the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State. President Bola was represented at the event by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who also officially declared the game open. Over 15,000 athletes from 36 states of the Federation, the FCT, and invited junior athletes were competing at the games, which runs till May 30th. The MKO Abiola Sports Complex in Abeokuta was packed with athletes, officials, and teaming spectators from within and outside Abeokuta for the magnificent opening ceremony, marking the official start of the game. Spanish La Liga giants Real Madrid currently tops UEFA's coefficients ranking in the latest ranking released by UEFA through its website. Real Madrid is ahead of Manchester City and Bayern Munich, who are in the top three positions. Chelsea, Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, and Manchester United move up compared to the previous ranking. Wiki Tourist and Barao FC have secured qualification to the Nigerian National League NNL Sport 8 playoff tournament. The Bauchi Elephants trashed Zamfara United 4-1 at the Tafawa Balewa Stadium. Bauchi, in their final match of the season, Barao FC held Mighty Jets to a goalless draw in Jos. And as we end the News Express, here's a look at our top stories again. We brought to you that Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, has expressed serious concern over the technical failures that affected the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, warning it threatens trust in Nigeria's educational system. And in business, President Bola Tinubu has granted regulatory approval for the issuance of all critical licenses required for the Kalamani Integrated Development Project, a multi-billion-dollar oil exploration initiative located between Bauchi and Gombe State. Another foreign scene, Israel says it would allow a limited amount of food into Gaza, ending an 11-week blockage that has brought the territory to the brink of famine. And finally, in sports, President Bola Tinubu believes the Nigerian sports sector will keep thriving under the government's Renewed Hope initiative as the country holds the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State. And that's it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.